Look around almost any environment on Earth, and animal life is there: insects in soil, birds in the sky, fish in rivers, worms under leaves, whales crossing oceans, and humans building cities. But the word animal is more than a casual label for creatures that move or make sounds. In biology, animals belong to the kingdom Animalia, a vast branch of life that includes everything from tiny microscopic organisms to the largest whales ever known. What unites them is not appearance, intelligence, or size. It is a shared set of biological traits, a shared evolutionary origin, and a deep history that stretches back hundreds of millions of years. Animals are multicellular eukaryotes. That means their bodies are made of many cells, and those cells contain organized internal structures, including a nucleus that stores genetic information. Unlike plants, animals do not make their own food from sunlight. They consume organic material, breaking down other living things or the remains of living things for energy. Animals also breathe oxygen, even if they do it in very different ways. A mammal uses lungs, a fish uses gills, many insects move air through tiny tubes, and some small aquatic animals exchange gases directly through their body surfaces. The methods vary, but the need for oxygen links them across the kingdom. Another key feature of animals is movement, though this is more complicated than it first sounds. Most animals can move at least during some stage of life, whether by swimming, crawling, flying, walking, or drifting with coordinated body motions. Movement is possible because animals have specialized contractile cells called myocytes, the foundation of muscle tissue. But there are exceptions. Adult sponges, for example, remain fixed in place, filtering water for food. Even so, their larvae can move, and their biology connects them to the animal lineage. So movement is not simply about running across a landscape. It is about having cellular machinery and life cycles shaped by active interaction with the world. Animals also share a distinctive pattern of early development. Most reproduce sexually, combining genetic material from two parents to create offspring with new genetic variation. During embryonic development, animal embryos typically pass through a stage called the blastula, a hollow sphere of cells. This stage is one of the clues that animals are not just a random collection of complex organisms. They are a clade, meaning they descend from a single common ancestor. Every beetle, squid, frog, elephant, coral, and human is part of one enormous evolutionary family tree. The differences between them are dramatic, but the deep connection is written into their cells and development. The scale of animal diversity is staggering. More than 1.5 million living animal species have been formally described by scientists, but that is almost certainly only part of the real total. Estimates suggest there may be as many as 7.77 million animal species on Earth. Insects dominate the known count, with around 1.05 million described species. Mollusks, the group that includes snails, clams, octopuses, and squids, include more than 85,000 described species. Vertebrates, the animals with backbones, number around 65,000 described species. This means the familiar animals people often imagine first, such as mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish, are only a small slice of the animal kingdom. Animals also cover an astonishing range of sizes and body plans. Some are only about 8.5 micrometers long, smaller than many single-celled organisms people might imagine as simple life. At the other extreme, the blue whale can reach more than 30 meters in length, making it one of the largest animals ever to exist. Between those extremes are bodies built for burrowing, gliding, swimming, grazing, hunting, parasitism, filter feeding, and surviving in extreme environments. An animal may have a rigid shell, a flexible body, jointed limbs, tentacles, wings, fins, spines, or no obvious head at all. Animal evolution has repeatedly solved the problems of survival in different ways. To make sense of this diversity, scientists classify animals into major evolutionary groups. The animal kingdom includes 5 major clades: Porifera, Ctenophora, Placozoa, Cnidaria, and Bilateria. Porifera are sponges, among the simplest animals in body organization, yet highly effective filter feeders. Ctenophores, or comb jellies, move using rows of tiny hair-like structures that shimmer in water. Placozoans are extremely simple, flat animals with few cell types. Cnidarians include jellyfish, corals, and sea anemones, many of which use stinging cells to capture prey. These groups show that animal life is not defined by having a spine, brain, or limbs. Animal bodies can be organized in very different ways. Most living animal species belong to Bilateria, a clade whose members usually have bilateral symmetry. This means their bodies can be divided into left and right sides that mirror each other. Bilaterians also tend to show cephalization, the concentration of sensory organs and nervous tissue toward a front end. That front end becomes especially useful when an animal moves through its environment in a particular direction. A head, or at least a leading end, helps an animal detect food, danger, light, chemicals, or obstacles before the rest of the body arrives. Bilateral symmetry and cephalization helped produce many of the active body plans that dominate animal life today. Within Bilateria, two enormous branches are especially important: protostomes and deuterostomes. Protostomes include arthropods, mollusks, flatworms, annelids, and nematodes. Arthropods alone, with insects, spiders, crustaceans, and their relatives, are among the most successful animal groups in history. Deuterostomes include echinoderms, such as sea stars and sea urchins, as well as hemichordates and chordates. Chordates include vertebrates, the group that contains fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, and humans. These categories may sound technical, but they reveal deep evolutionary relationships. A sea star may look nothing like a human, yet both belong to the deuterostome side of the animal tree. The animal story is also a fossil story. Animals first appear in the fossil record in the late Cryogenian period, then diversified during the Ediacaran period in an event sometimes called the Avalon explosion. Many Ediacaran organisms looked unlike anything alive today, with soft bodies and unusual forms. Then, around 539 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion began. During this interval, nearly all modern animal phyla first appeared in the fossil record, mostly as marine species. Later, during the Ordovician radiation beginning around 485 million years ago, many animal classes became more diverse. These events mark some of the most important turning points in the history of life. Modern genetics gives another view of this deep past. Researchers have identified thousands of gene groups common to living animals, pointing back toward a shared ancestor that may have lived around 650 million years ago. This ancestor was not a lion, worm, fish, or sponge exactly as we know them. It was likely a much simpler organism, but it carried biological potential that later lineages modified in countless directions. Genes involved in cell communication, development, and body organization became raw material for evolution. Over time, changes in these genetic systems helped produce tissues, organs, nervous systems, skeletons, and the wide variety of forms found across Animalia. Human understanding of animals has changed dramatically over time. Aristotle once divided animals into those with blood and those without, an early attempt to organize visible differences. In 1758, Carl Linnaeus created a hierarchical classification system that became foundational for biological naming. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck later expanded animal classification into multiple phyla. In the 19th century, Ernst Haeckel separated multicellular animals from single-celled organisms once grouped near them. Today, classification relies heavily on molecular phylogenetics, which compares DNA and other molecular evidence to reconstruct evolutionary relationships. This has transformed animal taxonomy from a system based mainly on appearance into one based on ancestry. Animals do not exist as isolated forms. They are part of complex ecologies, linked through food webs, competition, cooperation, parasitism, and environmental change. Predators influence prey behavior. Pollinators shape plant reproduction. Decomposers recycle nutrients. Grazers transform landscapes. Corals create habitats for entire marine communities. The scientific study of animals is called zoology, while the study of animal behavior is called ethology. These fields help explain not only what animals are, but how they live, communicate, choose mates, raise offspring, migrate, defend territory, and respond to threats. To understand animals is to understand relationships, because every animal is embedded in a larger living system. Animals have also shaped human history and culture. People rely on animals for food, including meat, eggs, and dairy products, and for materials such as wool, leather, fur, and silk. Some animals became working partners in transport, hunting, farming, security, and communication. Dogs were the first domesticated animals and have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. Beyond practical use, animals appear in cave art, mythology, religion, literature, heraldry, politics, sports, and personal identity. They are symbols, companions, resources, and subjects of scientific wonder. The animal kingdom is not just a category in biology. It is one of the central forces shaping life on Earth, including our own. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.